Welcome, welcome, welcome to Leadershipisation, all things leadership. My name is Beth Bergen. I'm a global leadership and communication coach, and I help executives, managers, and business owners build their influence through powerful communication skills, leadership so that they can lead a cohesive team, they can absolutely drive their results, and they can increase their own visibility in their organization, in their company, or in their industry. And I'm here live most Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. You know, one of the most common things that many leaders that I talk to, especially new leaders that I talk to and that I engage with and some of them I coach, they suffer from what's called imposter syndrome. And this is this kind of belief that maybe they're not good enough to be doing the job that they're doing. Now, a lot of us are then told, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Just fake it until you make it. Fake it until you make it. Just go for it. Now, in some cases, that works beautifully. In other cases, it feels absolutely inauthentic. And because it feels inauthentic, people don't like doing it. And when you don't like doing something, it comes across as even more inauthentic. And as you know, leadership intelligence is all about authentically being you. That's one of the core things in leadership intelligence is being you, being able to be authentic. So today what I'm going to do is share with you 5 key strategies to shift your leadership identity from this one of the imposter to a confident one. Yeah. So I've got 5 of those that I'll go through with you. Right. The first one is to ensure that your language is confident, to ensure that you're speaking confidently, both out here to your team in meetings, whatever you're doing in the workplace, but also your own self-talk. So instead of something like, oh, I really think that we should consider doing this, I want you to shift your language so that it's much more like this. Here's what I recommend we do. Or here's what we need to get done next. Quite a difference. And the more often you speak in that manner, the more likely you are to be adding to your confidence, because using words like, I think we should consider, is almost apologetic. It's almost you saying, don't take too much notice of me. I just happen to be here. So move away from that apologetic language to the confident language. Here's what I recommend we do. Now, as well as that helping you because it's adding to your self-talk, your positive self-talk, what it's also doing is it's building confidence in others. When you're confident, it's easier for others to be confident around you. And as I said, this will also feed into that self-talk that is so important for you. Okay? So that's number 1. Ensure your language is confident. The second one is this. Back yourself. Back yourself and your decisions. Now, this is all about not asking for permission and not asking for input when you know the answer. You know the answer. You've already sussed it out. You know what the answer is. That's why you're at the point that you're at. If you don't know what the answer is, that's a completely different conversation. When you know the answer, Don't keep scouting around, asking for answers, asking for permission, asking for input. Trust your instincts. Now, why is this important? It's important because your instincts were what got you there. Your instincts have got you to where you are now. So keep them fine tuned so that you can move to the next place. And owning your decisions, having the confidence to own your decisions is always going to build your confidence. And the final thing I would say about backing yourself in your decisions is this: you're paid to lead, so lead. Stop needing others to validate every single decision and be prepared to lead. Because a really awesome thing about decisions is that once you've made one, you can make another one. Once you've made one, if it's not working out, you can change it. Decisions aren't made or set in concrete. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, this is all about boundaries. And if you've been watching Leadershipisation for some time, you know that it's all about boundaries. Set, maintain, and model those boundaries. And do this in a confident way. Look, one of the common things that we believe, or that when we're a new leader, particularly, we can believe, oh, I need to work really long hours because that will show how committed I am, how passionate I am, how dedicated I am. It doesn't actually. Staying late doesn't show that you're dedicated. You could argue that it shows that you're a little bit foolish, that you haven't got good time management, that perhaps you're not demonstrating the kind of leadership that the organisation is looking for. So make sure that what you're doing is determining what's needed, determining that this is the work that needs to be done, and start leaving when the work is done. Because then you can encourage your team to do exactly the same thing. Then you can encourage your team to leave when the work is done and it's at the end of the day. When you're with a new team, it can be really useful to examine the processes, the workflow, because sometimes teams might be staying quite late because the system, the process, the workflow is holding them up. And so as a new person coming in, it can be really awesome for you to observe what those things might be and to actually look to implement change. And just an aside there, it's really useful to ask the people who are doing the task how they might do it quicker, because they see it from the perspective of being on the ground doing it. Yeah, so they bring a whole different perspective than what you might from the outside looking in. Remember that when you set, maintain, and model boundaries, such as it's time to leave, remind yourself that your value isn't measured by the hours that you're there. It's measured by the results that you get. So working smarter, not harder, so that you have time to go home to your family, maybe one of the things that you need to learn how to do. Okay? That was number 3, set, maintain, and model boundaries. Let's look now at number 4. Number 4 is develop and use your voice. Now, this is kind of similar to number 2 in some way. But it's really about develop and using that voice. Don't say or try to move away from saying, I'm probably wrong, but and then offering your suggestion and move to my opinion is, and confidently stating the opinion. You wouldn't be in the room if your opinion wasn't valuable. Unless you're sitting there as an admin support, unless you're sitting there as an observer. If you're in the room and they're looking for you to contribute to a meeting, then this is what should be happening. So it's not about that apologetic behavior, that apologetic language. It's, no, I'm probably wrong, but you were chosen for this role based on your experience and on your potential. So what's important is that you continue to grow, that you continue to be self-aware. It's important because these things feed into your own personal growth. They feed into your growth as a leader and as a communicator. And when you are able to develop and use your voice in a confident, non-apologetic way, you move into a position where you can start to influence not only your team below you, but also your peers and also those people who are higher up than you in the organization. So it might be your direct manager and the manager or managers above that. So developing and using your voice begins that process of becoming more influential so you can build that cohesive team, so that you can drive those results, and so that people can actually see you in the organization. When you start off by saying, oh, look, I'm probably wrong, but I was just kind of thinking, people switch off. When you say, my opinion is, people stay connected. They're interested in what you have to say. You'll learn and they will learn as well. So that's number 4, develop and use your voice. Just another tip that comes around that. Whenever you go to a meeting, take some kind of a notebook. Take something like this, a spiral bound notebook, or a hardcover notebook. Just let me have a look and see if I can find. Here's a hardcover one here. Yeah, a hardcover one. Lined is usually what I use. And what I try really hard to do is to write on the right hand side. I make notes on the right hand side and I put any actions that come out of the meeting for me to do on the left hand side. So there's a lot that's been written about how important it is to actually handwrite. We learn much better when we handwrite. And so I'm not sure what's happening in other countries, but I know here in Australia, our grade 11 and 12 students in some schools are starting to return back to less time on screens and computers and more time actually handwriting, because we retain information a whole heap better when we handwrite it. So what I do is on the right hand side, I'll make a note. This is the date, this was the meeting subject, and this is the people who were there. And then just write those key points. Don't have to write everything because you're going to most likely get some minutes anyway. But what's important is that you take from that, here are the key points so that you can go back and look at them. And on the left-hand side of the page, these are the actions that I need to make sure happen or follow up as a result of the meeting. Yeah. and these might be the dates or whatever. It's a great tip. I find that it works really well. And many of my clients also use that same approach because it works quite clearly. You can keep those notebooks. You then would mark those books, meetings with the date range on it, and store it somewhere in your office so that you can always go back and reference it. Again, because you've written it, you're going to retain that information a whole heap better. So that's just a side tip to number 4 there, which is about developing your voice and using that voice. Keeping those notes will really help you to be able to do that. So number 5, set standards from day one for yourself and for others. Like when we knew, it's important to us to be liked. For many of us, that's really important. We want to be liked. And so often we accept good enough work from people because we want to be liked and we want to be comfortable. And maybe we want them to be comfortable too. What that does is that it keeps the standard lower. And it's hard then to lift people. It's really hard to lift people. When you make lots of allowances for someone, it's really hard to lift them up again. So make sure that what you're doing from day one, and day one doesn't need to be your first day in your job, day one could be tomorrow. From day one, start as you mean to continue. It's much easier to soften off a bit than it is to put your foot down and be really hard. So set the standard and make sure that what you're doing is communicating that with clarity to your team so that they understand. Make sure that you support them with the resources that they need to do that. And then you can hold them accountable and you can have those deep conversations that help you to come up with a different approach to workflow so that everyone can go home at a reasonable time. Why would we set those standards from day one or tomorrow, if that's what you need to be doing? Well, that will help you to earn respect. You're going to earn the respect from your people. And although it feels nice and warm and fuzzy to be liked, actually having their respect is the important thing. As I said, you've got to provide the support that so that they can do that. But if you're setting those standards, then you're able to support them to learn those standards. You can provide some training to help them to support those standards. It raises the standards because here it is. This is what I want. I'm not going to accept good enough. I want to accept this as being the standard for us. And also, it helps everyone to understand that you're actually measured on your results. And if you're measured on your results, you need to be setting a standard. Yeah. We want things done in this period of time. So finally, you're not an imposter. You're there because you are selected to be there. There's no need for you to fake it. Remind yourself what your skills are. Remind yourself what your leadership style is. Keep your mind open to the possibility of learning new things and unlearning some of the things that maybe aren't serving you so well. Okay? So, thanks so much for that. Look, one really important aspect of confident leadership is communication. And to help leaders with this, I've developed a 30-day Say It Smarter communication program, which is all about building rapid rapport. It's about building that team cohesion so that what you can do is maintain those standards and increase that productivity. If you're interested in hearing more about that, click on the link below and make a 30-minute time with me. We'll have a chat about it. No pressure, no hard sell. It's about me just sharing with you that this is what it's about. If you'd like to do that, the link will be below this on the platform. Just click that. It'll come through to my calendar and choose a time that's convenient for us both. So reach out if that's what you'd like to do. Thank you for today. If you've got questions or comments about today's about today's topic, please pop it in the platform that you're watching this on, and we'll get back to you and respond to that for you. If you're watching a replay, #replay would be fantastic. I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. Bye now.